Good evening, everybody. This is Michael Winiger, CEO of Asante Organics, and special night, very special night. It's always a special night when we get our medical director, Dr. Becky Natrajan, on the line and on the Zoom. And tonight, wow, we're going to talk about EPI. Wow, I feel like I've known Dr. Becky my entire life. Um, Very generous person. She's a double board certified doctor, butts and guts, right? And um, I met her here in Arizona, and I got to tell you, her whole family's background is in medicine, pharmaceuticals, everything. And one of the first women that did gastroenterology, butts and guts. I got stuck on that too, and then I get corrected. So, but gastroenterologist, how's that? Is that right? Something like that. But anyway, but yeah, leading practice here, and then she found the industry of the networking industry, and got with the company and I watched it. I witnessed it with my own eyes. Got into a company at the point where they were making $19 million a year. And she helped, and she was a big pinnacle factor and helped that company get into over $1 billion in sales within 5 years, and spoke on stages around the world, spoke, just her audience is huge. And there's so much more. I mean, and so much more good stuff about Dr. Becky. But tonight she's with us, and we're going to give her the floor, and we're going to learn all about this stuff because that's what we do. Tuesday nights are for business opportunity meetings, and Thursdays we try and do a little bit of training and get you educated because what we do here is we create awareness, we educate, and then we execute. So, with that being said, it's my pleasure to bring on our doctor, Dr. Becky Natrajan.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. And this will be a great call. It's being recorded, and I think for all of you that have joined the call, you're going to want to share this recording with everyone that you know. And by way of background, I am a retired gastroenterologist, and so I dealt with diseases of the esophagus, the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. And the reason I chose the topic about exocrine pancreatic insufficiency is I had the TV on the other day and this commercial came on for EPI. And I'm listening because the medical community loves to label everything with some kind of acronym and they want to deliver a drug to address this acronym. So I thought it would be really, great to explain to everyone what the pancreas is, what it does, what is exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, and why everyone, in my medical professional opinion, over the age of 35 has EPI to one degree or another. And I'll explain that. So we're also going to talk about the microbiome because everything is interconnected with these, trillions of organisms that live in your intestine that are interlinked to your brain chemistry and interlinked to your cardiovascular system, your endocrine system, and your exocrine system, your adrenal glands, your pulmonary system, your urinary system, your skin, your liver, and biliary system. So we will touch on that, but let's talk about the pancreas. So the pancreas is an organ that's a very fragile organ, and it's noted to be a retroperitoneal organ, which means it sits behind. It's kind of like near the back area. So if you've ever had pancreatitis or know somebody that has chronic pancreatitis, which means inflammation of the pancreas, not only will they have significant, horrible abdominal pain, they will also have horrible back pain associated with horrible nausea, vomiting. It's like some of the worst pain that's ever been described to me. And there's a lot of causes for pancreatitis. It could be secondary to trauma, secondary to alcohol. There could be a stone blocking the ducts that lead from the pancreas to the small intestine. So let me talk a little bit of anatomy so that you can understand. In your right upper quadrant, you have your liver. And then tucked underneath that liver is a gallbladder, unless you had it removed. And then just beneath where that gallbladder is, here comes the pancreas and its pancreatic duct that feeds into this common bile duct. So it's a bunch of tubules. It's like tunnels. So we have emptying from the liver, and if you still have a gallbladder, we have emptying of bile from the gallbladder. And then this pancreas secretes a lot of things. In terms of what it secretes from an exocrine versus endocrine function, I'm talking exocrine tonight, but let's talk about its endocrine function. Endocrine is because it produces hormones that are insulin, part of insulin, glucagon, something called somatostatin, and something called pancreatic polypeptides. We're not going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about exocrine secretion, which is amylase, lipase, and proteases that help you digest, assimilate, absorb nutrients. Okay, so if you listen to the experts about EPI, exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, they're doing a lot of studies to define what this really means. And so if you are insufficient with exocrine production of amylase, lipase, and proteases, and it's severe, you may have fatty stools where you're not absorbing anything, especially fats. And so you can have oil in the toilet bowl. It's called steatorrhea. You can have horrible flatulence that's very malodorous. You can have a lot of distension, gas, pain, but they've also associated certain disease states with this quote EPI, inflammatory bowel disease, especially Crohn's disease. Of course, pancreatitis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatic cancer, and then even irritable bowel syndrome linked to quote unquote EPI. So when I heard the commercial, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, after the age of 35, just naturally as we age, we don't produce the same amounts of amylase, lipase, and proteases. We just don't. It's kind of like we don't produce the same amount of thyroid hormones. We may not produce the amount of estrogen that we did when we were younger, or testosterone, or the adrenal glands may be weakened. It is an aging process. And because we're a toxic society, our body does age quicker. And so we have less and less of things that are being produced than when we were in our 20s and in our prime. So usually after 35, the amylase goes down and the proteases go down and the lipase goes down. And when that happens, yes, you're not going to digest well, you're not going to assimilate and absorb well. And this can lead to inflammation in the body. And this can directly affect how you feel. And you may have an irritable intestine, or you may have certain disorders that are causing the EPI. But when I saw the commercial and I thought about what we know, all of us over the age of 35, and especially if you're my age, and especially if you're Michael's age, wow, then you definitely have less production of these exocrine, these exocrine secretions. And so instead of absorbing, you're malabsorbing. So if you do see fatty stools, it means about 90% of your exocrine function is down the toilet, literally. But you don't have to have that to have quote unquote EPI of some relative, how do you say, just certain amounts of EPI based on what your body is not producing. So the other day, I was on a three-way call, and a gentleman from a functional medicine background said, "What's your number one product with Asante Organics?" I said, "You know what? After I gave it a lot of thought, I said, it's the daily digest, because all of us as we age need it. We need it. Like there's no question about it. It's something that I can't go without, and I'll never go without, because it gives us these plant-based enzymes that you take right before that first bite of food so that you digest all the proteins, all the carbohydrates, all the fats you absorb, and you're helping your elimination. So now you're absorbing all the good stuff. And it's just one of the number one products that Asante has to help your gut and to help your pancreas, because your pancreas is so important. And again, the pancreas is very fragile. And if you start to lose more and more capabilities of the pancreas, you are going to feel a difference. You're going to feel it all over the body. So then I thought, second product on the list would be the probiotics, because we need to continue to support the microbiome. Why? Because we eat garbage, we are toxic, we're dehydrated, we do so many things that adversely affect these trillions of organisms in our intestinal tract. And when these trillions of organisms are not happy, everything's out of whack. Your brain chemistry's out of whack. You're fatigued. You don't sleep well. You don't have energy. You have such fog during the day. So that we know that that super highway between the microbiome, the gut, and the brain, the gut it needs to be supported every day, especially as we age. And then we know when you support the microbiome, you also support endocrine function. We'll go into that another time. But the largest endocrine organ of your body is your gut, and it's supported by a healthy microbiome. We know that there's a gut skin connection. We know that our immune system absolutely depends on our microbiome because 85% of your immune system sits in your gut. So healthy microbiome supports a healthy immune system. Unhealthy microbiome doesn't do a darn thing to support your immune system. You wonder why so many people in the winter, or they got the coughs and the sniffles, I don't feel good, aches and pains, don't sleep right. Your immune system's breaking down. Your microbiome is a mess. So we support the microbiome and in turn support your liver, your biliary system, your cardiovascular system, your pulmonary system, your urinary system, your adrenal glands. I can go on and on and on. We're preventing inflammation when we support the microbiome because what we're doing is preventing leaky gut, which can lead to toxins entering the vascular system, circulating and causing inflammation, the chronic secret killer, leading to heart disease, metabolic syndrome, obesity, type 2 diabetes, lipids that are elevated in the bloodstream. So, number one, daily digest, because we all have a form of EPI, exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, as we age. We all need probiotics, active cultures that proliferate and colonize the intestine to support healthy proliferation of healthy microbiome. We need PhytoCleanse. So number one, daily digest. Number two, probiotics. Number three, PhytoCleanse. Why? Because unhealthy microbiome likes to hang out in packs. They're like these bad tribes, and they're sitting in your intestine, and they have biofilm sitting over them, like a concrete cement house that houses these evil, bad microbiome. PhytoCleanse gets rid of the biofilm, gets rid of the slime, gets rid of that bad housing so that bam, you start to get rid of the bad microbiome. The slime's gone, the bad microbiome is gone. Well, what happens? We've got good microbiome coming to form. They're proliferating. You're taking probiotics and they're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So is your entire body. Reds and greens are important. Alkalinization is important. I mean, these things in a Go Green pack that Michael's company offers is what I live by. But the top three, because a lot of people are like, I can't do them all, not ready for them all. Okay, daily digest, probiotics, PhytoCleanse. You want to do something that supports the ability to absorb the right way in terms of your nutrients, support your microbiome, get rid of the bad, and keep putting in the good. Your gut's going to be very, very healthy and you're going to feel really, really good. So my medical take on EPI is that the medical community in their infinite wisdom has to label everything so they can give you a drug. Let's give you a drug for your EPI. You don't need man-made enzymes. That's ridiculous. You need plant-based enzymes to address what I just talked about. And that's why the medical community totally disturbs me on so many levels. That's why I left medicine in 2005, because the pharmaceutical industry was killing my ability to help people. The insurance companies didn't help either, and I had no quality of life. So why did I turn to holistic approaches and nutrition? Because I helped so many more people in like a week than I helped in 10 years in my medical practice, because everyone responded to a nutritional approach. They didn't respond to drugs. There are needs for drugs once in a while, ladies and gentlemen. However, the chronicity of the pharmaceutical industry is ridiculous. Take this for life. Take this for life. You're on 7 to 10 medications. Well, you should be. You're over 55. Your body's falling apart. Give you a drug, another subspecialist. This is my soapbox. I get fired up about it because every time I turn the TV on, which is not often, there's always commercials. I'm like, click off. I mean, how did society is just like a bunch of ducks watching all this garbage on TV. And now we have this whole Ozempic and whatever these semaglutide and all this crap that's also wrecking your gut and wrecking your microbiome, and you're losing weight and you're puking and you have diarrhea and wow. And then you have gastric bypass surgery instead of doing Ozempic. That screws up your pancreas. That screws up your microbiome. You're doing everything the wrong way. You need to do it the right way. So Having said that, I'm going green. Who's coming with me? And Michael, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Wow. You said some things that you said a lot of things. And one thing that really when you were talking that I thought about was when you talk about the medical system and who's not been in a pharmacy, who's not gone to a store with a pharmacy. And you see all that stuff back there that nobody can touch because it's drugs, right? And we're conditioned to think that's what a pharmacy looks like. Let me tell you something. Get over to the organic produce section and look at the berries and the fruits and the vegetables and things like that. That's when they actually look like they should. That's what they look like. True health starts with whole foods, not prescriptions. You know, Um, I know a person that worked as a medical examiner. Okay, think about this, medical examiner for almost 50 years. And his he just didn't do everybody. He focused on that worst situation that a person can get from a physical standpoint. And he said, you know what, Mike, not even one. I've probably done 60,000 in my life. Not one person died from that situation. They died from liver disease, heart disease, every single solitary thing, a prescription is going to be a side effect. So they all died of the side effects. That's what he said. And you got to think about that. True health starts with food, not prescriptions. Let's start rethinking how we take care of ourselves. It's kind of like this scenario. I think I'm going to put this into a flyer in the next day or so. Nature heals, but the doctors get paid. I mean, think about that. It's it's what they want the society or want people to adapt to. I get it, and then you go if you go down to medical research centers outside of the country, wherever you go, guess what? They don't use those things just around here, you know? And so we have a question for you, Dr. Becky. She was asking for what age and why. I hear everything she's saying, but layman's terms for healthy 18 to 45-year-olds and younger athletes. I know Daily Digest and probiotics are helpful for everyone, but it seems, Dr. Becky, are we are we speaking to the older demographic? Or are we speaking to the entire? I'll tell you, I can answer that one for you because I just got off the line with the leading immunoenzymologist in the world. It's the entire demographic because your body does that in your teens. Time you get to about 24 years old, you got to remember the first, when is the day, what day of a person's life, and it's the same for everybody, what day was absolute perfect digestion and gut health in a person? And that day was the very first day you were born.
Mhm.
And you start decreasing then. But as you get older, that the speed, the speed accelerates, let's put it that way. And then by the time you get to, I know people 20, I know people in their 20s right now, and a lot of them, because I deal with these people all day long, that call me up and they got gut issues, bad ones. Okay. Why is that happening? I mean, come on. One, I get it. Food's degraded a little bit, but they're not properly digesting either. And the key thing is, it's not the perfect meal is this, that, whatever you eat. Perfect meal is the one that you're going to digest, the one that's going to liquefy inside your body quickly, you know, and um and and assimilate and then you draw all the nutrition out of whatever it is that you ate, and it cellulizes and you start metabolizing it, and it eliminates within 8 to 12 hours. And that's just not, people, that's why these people have issues. And it doesn't matter what age at that point, and when you look at like, um, let's talk about guts and butts, because I just did this and before I got on this thing. And you're a doctor. I mean, you're a huge medical doctor in this. And I was talking to him, and he was telling me, he's like, this is the leading immunoenzymologist in the world, right? He's like, you don't get it. When you go to the bathroom, if you have a hard stool, that's not a good thing. You're dehydrated. That means this stuff's going through all this food's going through your digestive tract and scraping and scraping and scraping and things like that. And, and you shouldn't have a loose one either, but it should be, soft and moist. Let's put it that way, right? And that's your perfect situation. And if you aren't doing that, better start hydrating, because that's a really big thing, and I know that to be true because, you know, I'm I've done it, where I've gone through my life and not hydrated properly and being in Arizona, and then got issues because I didn't. But I get busy and there's no excuse for it. And then I'm like, wow, I just drank half this, alkalizing 32-ounce thing in a day, and you don't think nothing of it until all of a sudden you start getting, like pain and this and that's going on, and it's just crazy stuff. And then you got to catch up, and catching up doesn't happen in a day either. So, so there's a whole healing process that goes along with that. So this is really, really important, and it's funny because somebody said to me the same thing. And I answered exactly that. I said, even before you start doing enzymes and probiotics, we got to clean everything up. We got to do a cleanse. That's the most important thing you have to do. And, so what do you think, Dr. Becky, are the specific benefits for the gut product line here for kids in their 20s and younger people as well?
No, I think all of your products, they're organic, plant-based products, they're food. And yes, people that are young, young to their teens, to their 20s, 30s on up are all qualified to be on your program because again, we are a toxic, nutritionally bankrupt society. And a lot of, kids, even when I was back in practice, we're going way back because I retired in 2005. It's been 20 years since I practiced traditional gastroenterology and internal medicine. But even when I was in practice, more young people were coming in with Crohn's disease, young people coming in with ulcerative colitis, with irritable bowel, with all these weird GI issues, gallbladder issues, liver issues. I'm like, what is going on? But they're eating garbage. They are dehydrated. Their bowels are a mess. Their microbiome's destroyed, and they're that young. They're like in their teens and early 20s. And that's not everybody, but again, everyone can benefit from your products. And I talked to a young gentleman the other day who started on one of your Go Green packs. So he started on everything, but he's been doing it incrementally. So started with the Daily Digest. So that's fine. Told him how to take that before meals and also at bedtime to increase his T cell production and boost his immunity even more. Then I got him to add in the probiotics and then add in the phyto cleanse. And then he did a full, like 3 at night for several nights and then brought it down to 1 a night. So I get a call from him about 2 weeks into the program, and then he adds in the reds and the greens and the protein and all that. But just on those 3 products, he called and he goes, I'm moving my bowels like several times a day. And I said, well, how often do you eat? He goes, several times a day. So he has like, breakfast and lunch and dinner, and he snacks. He's kind of a snacker. He's a grazer. And he goes to the bathroom like 5 times a day. I said, how do you feel? He goes, yeah, they're good. I said, are they hard stools? He said, no, they're soft. I said, you have a little gas? And he goes, just a little bit right before. And I said, do you usually eat and then have to go to the bathroom? He said, yes. I said, you are perfect because that's what your body was meant to do. If you look at societies that don't eat all the garbage we eat, and they stay hydrated and they eat everything that's organic, they grow it, they fish for it, they move their bowels every time they eat. You know why? It's called the natural gastrocolic reflex. Your stomach is stimulated, so the rest of the peristalsis, which means movement of the gut, takes place. The stomach senses it, and then all of a sudden, small intestine's happy. We're contracting, we're absorbing, we're now eliminating. And so you eat, you go to the bathroom. Congratulations, you're normal. Because when I was in medical practice, I had people would come in that they move their bowels once a week. I had more than one person that they would go a month without a bowel movement. It's ridiculous. They'd come in so distended, usually have to hospitalize them. We'd have to do all kinds of techniques to try to clean all that waste out of their body. But you looked at their diet, their hydration, like the just the toxicity, and it just shut down their gut, and their obesity that led to type 2 diabetes, which also shuts your gut down. So to me, this is not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. This is so not rocket science. This is common sense. If your body's acting out, your microbiome's not healthy, you're not digesting, you're not assimilating, you're not absorbing, you're not eliminating. So, tonight I'm just kind of on a crazy soapbox because I've been just running into so many people like at the grocery store and my daily running around routine, and everyone looks sick and they act sick and they complain, and I'm like, oh my gosh, people. And then they're off to McDonald's and they're off to just get their big gulp. It seems so many people running around with these sodas or like this giant things. I'm like, what are you doing? I couldn't even think about taking a sip of that, let alone having three of those a day. So when you go out there and talk to people, you're going to want to bang your head against the wall because people don't want to listen to this. Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh, I just don't, I just have no life, no energy. My health's deteriorating. But I have 5 doctor's appointments next week. Great, good for you. I mean, there's so many people out there that are praying for your program, for your products, Michael. There's so many out there. We just haven't found all of them yet. But the Go Green movement is the next paradigm shift in health, and you're leading the way. And we do it slowly, but we do it with conviction and passion and belief. And if you are experiencing the products and you have that conviction, belief, and passion, then you need to be talking to people. And they may say nay, nay, but whatever, somebody's going to say yay, yay. They're going to want to go green. So with that, I'll have you close. Covered a lot of ground, but people on the call, share this video with people. You know somebody out there that's waiting and praying for it. And I find that to be very common.
Exactly. And then along with all that, like everything starts in the gut. We've talked about that 8 million times. And you get better focus, better clarity, better you're gonna sleep better, your energy is gonna be better, your skin is gonna be better. It's completely an anti-aging program, you know, and because Dr. Becky brought this up, oh my goodness, I looked this up. I got this morning, and I think this fits right in because, when you look at, they say that the gut and the brain are exactly the same. But no, but unless you're talking to Dr. Becky or somebody who really, really knows, everybody's like, well, the gut. Well, there's a lot to the gut. And it's really the small intestines, right? And many gastrointestinal disorders are associated with people that have no clarity. They got you know, I don't mean mental health conditions, but IBS, how's that? Frequently correlates with what? Anxiety, depression, digestive issues can happen, because, from psychological issues. So a lot of times you have to not only treat that, but you have to take care of this up here too, right? And the enteric nervous system, the ENS, right? Um, that's what is often considered that's the second brain. It contains over 100 million neurons, and it can function independently, of the central nervous system. It regulates various digestive processes. You got neurotransmitter production, right? That's what the gut does to it. Produces 90% of the body's, serotonin, and it synthesizes dopamine, and what else? GABA, and other neurotransmitters. And if that's not right, you're not going to be right. These chemicals have significant impact on mood and mental health. And, when we look at, bidirectional communication, think about that. Well, what's that? Well, the vagus nerve ensures direct communication between the gut and the brain, right? So guess what? Stress can negatively affect that. So if this isn't right, and then you're going to be in a real hill of issues, right? Um, and then and if that's all not working properly, your gut issues will trigger and can trigger anxiety and depression and emotional states. I mean, so we got to look at this as a whole. And what we say all the time, and what is really important here is we don't make stuff. Okay. We have leading research centers using this as protocols, right, to save lives. So you look at this whole 12 products, that's it. And they say nothing less, nothing more, Mike, nothing added. So when you go down that aisle in the grocery store or at the vitamin shop, 99% of that stuff is ridiculous and you don't have to be taking any of it, and get everything from good whole food nutrition. And that's what we also do is everything that we make in this company. It's not juice powders or powders. It's not extracts and concentrates and resins. We use the whole plant, whole food nutrition. And so when you look at those other things that I just talked about, I'll just give you the example. It takes 5 pounds of a fruit or a vegetable to make a juice powder. Okay. And it takes 25 pounds of a fruit or vegetable to make whole food nutrition. So what would you rather have? Where do you think where are you going to get the most benefit? Obviously with whole food nutrition. That's what we focus on. So, you know, look at this stuff, look deep into it. People are like, well, how long, Mike? This is your life because it's my life every day. That's how long, every single day. Again, talking to the leading immunoenzymologist before we started here, he's like, he said exactly what Dr. Becky said. You don't just do it here, there, we forget about. No, you got to remember every time you're eating, that stuff has to take place. So you keep a bottle with you. Our enzymes are so good that they don't have to be refrigerated. They withstand heat. So put them in your car. Put them in whatever. If you're a guy, maybe you don't have a purse, right? But so you keep them in the car before you go into the wherever you're going to go eat. You can just pound, the right amount depending upon your plate. So it's your life now. It's your life. And you're gonna have a really great life if you do these things properly and all the time and keep your hydration up. So with that, we've been on long enough. I thank you, Dr. Becky, for being on with us. Guys, a wealth of information. And these Thursday nights are so special because you're getting educated. You're understanding how this stuff works. It's being recorded for people that missed it or didn't miss it purposely. Maybe they had to work or anything like that, but they can get this education. Education is first here in this company. Then we show you the solutions and how to take care of these things. And then you know why, so you can explain that to other people as well, or point them in the direction and say, hey, you need maybe to listen to that because that'll help you out. So with that being said, I thank you all for your time. Dr. Becky, your time is so valuable. I thank you so much for being here. And and God bless you. God bless your families. God bless your businesses. And remember, like I always tell you in every call, because it was given to me when I was down at a place that made so much sense, I will always end with it that at the end of at the end of your day, the end of every single day, and before you sit down on that bed or kneel down and thank the good Lord for his breath in your lungs, your heartbeat, another day with your family, because nobody gets guarantees and promises of the whatever. You sit down and you think about that because I don't live in here. I live in here. Okay. What are we doing in here on the inside? What are we doing on the outside? Can't do good stuff here and bad stuff here because you confuse your immune system and it wreaks havoc. Can't do good stuff here and bad stuff here for the same exact reason. Good stuff here, good stuff here. That's what we're all about. And at the end of the day, no matter what you did, how small or how large you did that, you've either done one of two things. One, you participated in your life. It's a great thing. Or two, you participated in your death. And it's just that simple. And you get to choose. So taking care of your health is your responsibility. And we're here providing the education, all the education you need. And take good notes because this will come up. And this is how you live a long life, healthy, nomads, a lot of energy, like a blue zone, creating a blue zone inside your own space. And that's important. And those people lived past 100 years old, all the way to 120 with no shaking going on or mental, memory issues or anything. And they're out there riding horses like they're, on an episode of Gunsmoke at 105 years old. So that's it. So, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful evening. God bless you all. And we'll see you again here on Tuesday and on Facebook in all our different little broadcasts that we do. Thank you all for being here. God bless you all. Take care.